Good morning, friends. Debbie Lichter here with Freedom Embodied Academy. And oh my gosh, raise your hand if you ever have a rough day, if you ever have a bad day, if you ever have one of those days where you're like, really, 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 just raise your hand. Raise your hand if you have those days. I had one of those days yesterday, which is what inspired me as I was kind of like witnessing what I did with my day and how that day ended up turning into like this awesome day. I was like, gosh, I got to come here. I got to share with you. We got to have a conversation because I remember when a day like that would have sent me straight into food or into trying to fix or control something or into massive obsession or, in just fixating on fixing myself, and I deeply, deeply want to go over some top tips, some insider strategies to support you so that that is no longer your default. That is not your default, that there are other things for you to be able to do. So let's dive right in. And here's the thing, is that I want to give this disclaimer because as I go over these 5 insider strategies, I want to be really clear that the ultimate path of true freedom around your relationship with food, freedom from the constant thinking about food, freedom from that obsession, being able to only eat when you're hungry and actually stop eating when you're full, and to be able to authentically be drawn to foods that feel good in your body and like detracted from the things that don't. I mean, there is a level of freedom around food that I really want you to have. And really not just food, but any addiction or obsession or self-sabotaging pattern. I mean, truly, there's a way of being free of all of that stuff. And that does require a deeper journey, right? That requires some deeper work to really face and be rid of the things that are blocking us, that are driving us to these patterns in the first place. And so as I go into these 5 insider strategies, I want to just have that as a disclaimer because these strategies are not meant to replace doing that deeper work. These strategies are really designed to be used in conjunction with doing that deeper work, and when, not if, but when you get free from your food addiction or from any addiction or obsession that's holding you back. These insider strategies will support you in staying free. So let's just dive right in, shall we? Let's just dive right in. So if you're tuning in right now, I want to just kind of have you just say hello. So just say hi and just say where you're from, just so I know that you are that you're tuning in, that you are here, that we are listening, and that you're all ready. So number one. So when you start having, that first setback, it's so easy to go into, the self-doubt conversation, the what's wrong with me conversation, the kind of going back in your mind. Maybe it was a conversation that didn't go well, or maybe it was some bad news that you got. But it's like the first place that we typically go is looking at how we're not enough, or how we're too much, or how we did it wrong, or somehow we didn't get it right. There's like this internal thing, that we do. And we go straight into judgment. You ever notice that? We go straight into judgment. And so what I'm going to invite you to do instead, because that immediate judgment can be like, you know what? I feel so crappy, whatever. And then somehow either in that moment or a little bit later, we somehow just find that we're hungry. You ever notice that? You just all of a sudden, you just want something to eat, because just a few moments ago, you were just feeling super inadequate. So what I'm going to invite instead is that when you have that first setback of your day, to just pause for a moment and to actually just get real with what you feel. Get real with what you feel. So this is different than the judgment about yourself. Getting real with what you feel is like, oh gosh, like really, gosh, I feel rejected. I feel not good enough. I feel sad. Oh, and actually track it in your body. This is so important. This is so, so important because this is going to help you get out of being up in your head. Hey, Heather, so good to see you. It's going to help you getting out of your head where you're analyzing and creating story about yourself and creating story about the other person or about the situation or about, going into the fear of like, what does this mean? And, projecting into the future. That's where we keep it all in our head. What I'm inviting you to do here is actually get embodied, get into your body, start to get real with the feelings that are going on inside of you, the sensations that are going on inside of you. Gosh, do you just feel heavy? Do you feel cut off at the throat? And sometimes I'll just spend some time with that and just really give myself an opportunity to feel that without needing to fix it or change it or make it go away. So, so important, because when we can just acknowledge that instead of judging it, instead of judging ourselves, we start to have a congruent experience instead of an incongruent experience. And for those of you who are part of the Freedom from Food Addiction interview series, or you've been attending my masterclass, you've just been attending more of these videos, you know that congruence means that our head, our heart, and our gut are all in alignment. They're all on the same page. And because of that, we have an internal sense of alignment, an internal sense of ease and comfort inside that allows us to be authentic in the world around us. It allows us to just be comfortable in our own skin, even if in that moment we're feeling sad, but it's congruent, right? If I'm sad inside and maybe I'm crying, maybe I'm just taking a moment, maybe I'm just quieting down. Incongruence is when we're having this experience inside of ourselves, but then our head's like judging us for it. You shouldn't be this way. Why'd you do this wrong? Why'd you do it this way? You should have done it that way. Or when we're like, okay, I'm feeling this way inside, but I can't be this way inside because this is going to be just a black hole of melancholy and I can't be this way. And so I'm going to cut it off. I'm going to put on a happy face. I'm going to go on with the show. And I'm going to just like siphon off this emotion off in a corner. That's being disconnected, disembodied, and incongruent. And so when we do that, it creates an internal discomfort and dis-ease that actually drives us to food or drives us to another sense of ease and comfort. And so that can actually keep us in the pattern. So when we actually just get real, gosh, there's a part of me that is feeling so sad by all of this. And like, just give yourself the gift of feeling that. It's great, big, huge. It's a big, big deal. So that is number one, just to get real with it. And I know that it is not always easy to get real with what you feel. To feel feelings is not easy. It's not comfortable. I was working with a client of mine. I will not say her name out loud, but she specifically started working with me. She's like, Deb, I've done so much inner work. I've done so much spiritual work. I've been on a spiritual path for a long time. And I feel blocked about my feelings. I feel blocked when it comes to that. So if you're somebody who feels blocked when it comes to your feelings, just put feelings in the comments. I totally, totally get it. I totally relate to that. And when she actually did the deeper work, she got free of the things that were blocking her. She now calls herself a sensitive creature. She's like, I just was crying. And she's just in touch with her feelings and more with others. It's been a massive, massive breakthrough in her own life and in the lives and the relationships that she has. So this is a big, big one. And if you want more support around it, I'm so available to support you around this stuff. So, okay, that's the first thing. The second thing is to connect to a deeper truth that lies beyond this situation. Connect to a deeper truth that lies beyond this situation. It is so easy when we have the circumstances of our life going a certain way. It is so easy for us to start to make decisions about our life, about ourselves, about other people, about how it is, about what we need, about what it's like. It's so easy for us to look at the circumstances of our life and then start to make all of these decisions based off of that. But the immediate circumstance of your life is not the ultimate truth of life. right? It's not the ultimate truth. And so it's so important in those moments because we can get tunnel vision, especially if we're having a rough day, something didn't go the way that we wanted it to, or we got some bad feedback, or, something didn't work out and we're feeling really down. Like that's going to have us really have tunnel vision on, hey, Rex, on the situation, right? And that's not a good place to be, because then what we're doing is we are just taking our current mental construct that is living in the paradigm that we're in this exact moment, and we're now making that be our entire world and our entire reality. And that's really, really limiting. And so what we want to do, like, we'll never be able to pull ourselves out of a place like that if we're kind of stuck in that, because we're just going to kind of continue to chew on the thoughts and the fears and the insecurities that we have. And so the best way to be able to lift up out of that mental construct, that paradigm that we're living in, is to connect with a deeper resource of truth, a deeper resource of truth. So I'm going to give you some recommendations here. And, as you listen to this, find what resonates for you. So the one resource is nature, actually, getting out into nature. Because when we get into nature and we get into this like greater than us experience that's literally just like living and breathing around us and with us and through us and for us, and we start to tap into just the majesty and the exquisiteness of nature. It's a way to just kind of like pull ourselves out of reality. I had this experience a couple weeks ago. I was just kind of feeling sort of like, not a really rough day, but just sort of like not a super inspired. I wasn't feeling super inspired. And I just kind of just got quiet for a moment, just kind of listened to my inner guidance. And what I heard was, go to the Home Depot and go buy a Mandevilla plant. I'm like, okay, that's random. But it's the end of my day. Okay, I guess I'll go do that. Maybe I'll go get a plant, and for a relatively cheap investment, I can have some brightness in my home and in my life, and like, wouldn't that be nice? So I go off to the Home Depot, and and I get there and I get to the garden center and I'm asking them, where the mandevillas are, and the guy's like, oh gosh, with the rains, whatever, it's they're not, there are none right now. I mean, you're gonna have to wait a few more weeks. I was like, oh, okay, kind of wondering, like, well, why did my inner guidance have me go here? And he goes, but do you like hummingbirds? He says to me, do you like hummingbirds? I'm like, who doesn't like hummingbirds? Hummingbirds are amazing. He's like, well, let me show you something. And he pulls me over to this one area that's been sectioned off in the garden center. They put like a little fence around it, and there's a tree inside. And he goes, look in there. And I look in, and folks, there's a baby, like this big, a baby little hummingbird nest with two little baby hummingbirds that are in it, that are like, their mouths are open. And like, I don't know if you've ever seen a hummingbird before, like a little baby hummingbird, but it was like the cutest thing. My entire heart melted. I was at once just overtaken by the awe, the grandeur, the delicacy, the beauty, the preciousness of life itself. It melted away all of my sort of self-pitying, doldrummy, sort of like blasé kind of, apathy kind of stuff. It blew all that away, and I was like, oh, I was taken in by these two little baby hummingbirds, completely taken in. And so that is the power, right? You're having a crappy day, and it's like, default to the kitchen, default to, the Netflix or to the TV, or, I was chatting with someone yesterday, and it's like, the popcorn and the TV. I mean, the popcorn's not super fattening, and yet I just got to start to chew on something. I get that. And it's like, oh my gosh, these tools, these tips. And again, disclaimer, remember, this is not in lieu of doing the deeper work. This is in conjunction with doing the deeper work, getting free from the things that are blocking you, but having these moments where it's like, you don't have to go down that path anymore. You don't have to do that thing anymore. You can have a brand new experience. And you actually not just have a brand new experience of like, okay, I'm going to white knuckle it and I'm going to be good and I'm not going to go to the fridge. It's like, no. You can actually have an experience of awe and wonder and like can like completely shift you into a whole new way of thinking and being. Hey, Vito. Oh my gosh, so good to see you. So here are a couple other ways that you can connect in with this truth. And this is where, take this in the way that aligns most with you. But I'm going to talk about prayer. I'm going to talk about meditation. I'm going to talk about connecting with a deeper spiritual truth right now. Because, the first thing, if you notice, before I went off to the Home Depot to go, on this little excursion that ended up being this incredible gift, first thing that I did was I just paused. I paused and I went within and I listened to my inner guidance. And I have, over the years, cultivated a relationship with that inner guidance where I am guided and supported throughout my day with every single decision, every single thing. This is why this is really why I love guiding women through the Freedom Embodied Academy, because I find that we don't trust ourselves, right? We're full of self-doubt. All our stuff comes up. And so then that's a reason to just go to the food, It's just like, I can't trust myself and I messed up over here, or things aren't going well over here. We start getting in all the fear. We start backtracking and it's like, And what I find is that so many of us are blocked from really accessing our inner guidance system. That's why that's really what I do in the academy, is really guide women through how to reconnect and realign with your inner guidance system, because that's such an important thing. But when you can connect with that, when you can truly authentically connect in with, I'm okay no matter what, I am being resourced from a place that supersedes this particular circumstance, this particular moment. There is a deep truth within me that is infinite, that is eternal, that is so much bigger than this, and not bigger as in I'm better than other people, but just that there's a part of me that is so expansive, that's as expansive as the universe, as light itself, that it moves us beyond this. It helps us to expand outside of that situation and gain access to a deeper level of resounding truth. And then from there, we can take a more congruent action. And so again, this number 2 tip and insider strategy is to connect in with a truth that lies outside of this current situation. And so whether you're doing that through prayer, through meditation, through, just deeply connecting with an embodied sense of that, that larger, greater than you energy, or you go and you get into nature or you do something like that, I highly recommend that. That is number 2. That is number 2 on the list of 5. Number 3, and this is so great, and especially if you are in the Congruence Collective, getting around other high vibe people. Getting around other high vibe people. So it just tickled me so much, because I was speaking with some of the ladies in the Freedom Embodied Academy the other day, and they're like, oh yeah, we just got together. Like there was just a group and we just got together, and I feel like this is it's just so precious to me when, the tendency, and what I'm talking about, that tendency to isolate, that tendency to be alone, that tendency to be like, what's wrong with me? I don't belong. I'm different, and that tendency to hold back. If you have a tendency to hold back and to isolate, just put isolate in the comments. Let us all just send you a little love. I'm sending you some love. I totally, totally get it. This is what happens to so many of us. And we tend to kind of just go it alone. And of course it's going to send us to food or to whatever the, addiction or sabotage pattern is, because that becomes our only friend. That becomes our only source of, distraction. When we can get around other high vibe people, here's two things that does. First of all, just reaching out, and getting outside of doing that pattern interrupt. I remember a couple of years ago this happens all the time, but I just really remember it a couple of years ago because I remember in our little private Facebook group that we have for the Academy ladies, I remember one of the ladies reaching out, and she literally was like, I don't want to be reaching out. I don't want to be here. I'm in a really crappy mood. I hate everyone. She was like, but she was writing it and she was reaching out as she was expressing herself honestly. And it was so beautiful because everyone in the group, it like got everyone in the group responding to her, wrapping their arms around her with love and with just connection and like, oh my gosh, I get you. And thank you for reaching out. And you gave me so much permission because I felt like I needed to be all happy before I, posted in this group. And I mean, it was amazing how it became a permission slip for the others in the group to lean in for their own experience, to lean in to support her, and how just the act of doing that itself dramatically shifted things for her. And so, there is so much power just to that, so much power. And when we connect with other high vibe people, other people, like-minded people who are living in the same values and principles that we are. Not that we want to just be around like a homogenous group of people who only think the way we think. That's not what I'm suggesting here. But that we are connecting with people who are like feeling lighter. It's incredible. I mean, sometimes I've just got girlfriends and I'm like, all right, I just like, bleh, this is what's going on, bleh, and I need you to just kind of like shine the light on me right now and just give me a reflection because I can't see it right now. I'm kind of just in it, I'm in my own stuff. And it's so, so powerful because when we turn to a community like that, or we turn to a sisterhood like that, or we turn to a soul family like that, it's amazing how we get met with so much love, so much support, so much, oh my gosh, girl, boy, man, sister, woman, whatever, I see you. I get you. This is what I see. And it's incredible how just that can be an absolute pattern interrupt. And so again, there's something that is, yes, I know it's vulnerable. I know it takes courage. But if we are willing to do it, it is such a transformative thing to do. To get around high vibe people and to raise your hand and to say, hey, this is my experience right now. I'm just going to be honest with you. This is my experience, and let others love on you. So, so important. Yay, Kate. Hi, Linda Nee. So good to see you. Yay, yay, yay. Awesome. Okay. That is number 3. Number 4. How you doing with these? I want to know which one of you are relating to the most right now. So, you're doing a lot of listening and not a lot of connecting, and I want to know what you're connecting with the most. So which of the 3 that I've spoken about so far are you relating to the most? And now I'm going to talk about number 4. So number 4 is to get in service. This makes me smile because I just was in this yesterday. So I told you all, if you missed us, if you came in a little bit late, had like a little bit of a rough one yesterday, had some things that, just kind of some tough stuff that happened yesterday. And this is what inspired this whole video, because I was like, okay, this is so amazing. I was actually just taking notes and just witnessing what I was doing instead that had me not going to food or going to any addictive pattern or sabotage pattern. Like I was just like being in it. And so the list that you're getting just comes from my experience. And so when this stuff started happening yesterday, and like the first or second, I think the second or third like setback sort of happened in the day. I did that number 2. I connected in for a moment and just listened for my inner guidance. And what I heard was get in service. And I just love that because in that moment I kind of smiled and I'm like, yeah, I'm totally in self-pity right now, because it's so easy when things start going not so great to get into that pity party, right? And to start feeling victimized by this stuff and like, I'm so misunderstood and they don't get it. And, blah, blah, blah. And like, so we're feeling not super hot about ourselves. We're in this whole questioning thing of like, what's wrong with me? And, why can't I get this? Or, like I must not be enough, that I couldn't do this, or maybe I'm too much, or maybe I'm just not the right kind. We kind of get into that whole tailspin. And then we get into this whole, this whole other piece too, and of self-pity. And it's like, oh my gosh, that can just make things even worse. And so when I heard this, get in service, and I was like, gosh, okay. So for me, get in service is just like help someone else. That's really what service is for me. It's help someone, be of service to someone else, and get out of your own story and your own tailspin, and just like connect with somebody else and reach out. And so I did yesterday. I did do that. And it happened at the end of my work day, and I showed up somewhere, and I just like showed up in service and in love, and it was remarkable. It actually completely reoriented my entire energy, people go and they spend millions of dollars on like energy clearing and all this kind of stuff. I want to tell you right now, if you get into authentic service, that real help, not the kind of service where it's like, oh, I know how to help you, I know the advice that I need to give you, and I know what you need. Not that kind of service. Not the kind of service where you're a martyr and you're depleting yourself and you're feeling like you're giving from a depleted well, that you're giving from a depleted cup. We're not talking about that kind of service. We're talking about the authentic kind of service where you feel this generosity from the depth of your heart, where there is really no motive other than to simply just like love on other people and to show up in the ways that you're being guided to show up. That kind of service, the alchemy of that kind of level of service will completely transport you into a higher frequency. It just will. It's like we just get this cleansing through our systems. And it also, what's so beautiful about being of that kind of authentic service is that it catapults you into this feeling of worthiness. And not in that sort of like self-obsessed, self-absorbed kind of like, I'm worthy and like none of it's like it supersedes all of that, and in fact becomes more authentic because you're not trying to prove it to yourself. You're not trying to convince yourself of it. You just authentically, organically embody this feeling of worthiness because you've just been able to do something that helps somebody else out in the world. And it feels so good inside, like you authentically feel that good inside. Yes, beautiful. Oh, good, Rex. Thank you. I'm so glad. Yes, connecting with similar people and doing service. Totally, 100%. It is like the biggest thing. So that is number 4. And I promise you, if you're like, Deb, I've got nothing to offer, like I really, really bet you that you do. I really bet you that you do. And here's the thing that's so beautiful is that really, it's not that like you're doing anything, that you're helping someone. It's that you are showing up in love and service, and that you are allowing the very source energy that breathed life into you today, that is allowing for you to, to channel this light and this love, that you're just simply being a conduit of that love, of that light, that you're just showing up and you're available to be a reflection for somebody else that supports them to remember that for themselves. And that's really the truth of what service is. Just this this beautiful way that we can transmit and share this deeper truth. And so anyway, and so even if you don't think, well, I don't think I have anything, it's like, don't worry about it. In fact, that's even better, because then you won't show up thinking that you're here to supposed to do something, do some kind of tap dance, like, prove yourself or whatever. You're just here to show up and actually let the very power that moves you move through you, is really what that is. So that is number 4. And number five is to do something fun and filling for your soul. Do something fun and filling for your soul. Here's the thing is that I was just talking to the ladies in the academy earlier this week. We were talking about that aspect that so many of us are undernourished. We're malnourished in so many ways. Many of us are malnourished in the area of actually fun and joy and pleasure. Many of us have been malnourished in the ways of true meaningful connection, or in that deep feeling of being okay just with inside of ourselves, or even of knowing ourselves. We've been malnourished with that unconditional experience of love. There's many, many ways that we've been malnourished or undernourished. And so what many of us have done is we have overconsumed, right? So we go from malnourishment to overconsumption. And overconsumption happens with food. It happens with social media. It happens with, TV and Netflix. It happens with drinking. It happens with, attention, with sex, with love, with men, with women, with, cigarettes and, tobacco and drugs. And it happens, we overconsume in many, many ways, right? And we're trying to fill up because something feels like a void inside, something feels like an emptiness inside, or something feels like a deficit inside, right? So we feel fragmented inside. We don't feel this sense of internal, I'm okay no matter whatness. And so when we're not feeling that internal, I'm okay no matter whatness, there's a discomfort inside, a dis-ease inside. And what we're trying to do is fill that up, fill that in. And we overconsume. And that overconsumption just has us feeling hungrier, right? Has us starving even more. It has us needing to fill up even more. And so again, if you think about this, if we have an internal feeling of I'm not enough, something crappy happens in the day, or a situation doesn't work out in a way that we would love, and we start to make these decisions about ourselves, I'm not enough for this, I'm too much for this, I'm doing it wrong, something about me is not right, that lack, that deficit can drive us to start to try to fill that up. I'm not enough, so I need more. I need to be more. This pattern is what drove me to binging and to abusing caffeine and stimulants, because I was like, however I am isn't enough. I've got to be more. I've got to be more productive. I've got to be smarter. I've got to be more with it. I've got to be more organized. I've got to be faster, sharper, better, stronger. And so it just kept me like constantly feeling like something about me is not enough. If you relate to this not enough thing, this is a big, big one I want you to really, really pay attention to. If you relate to this, put not enough in the comments. We're just going to send you little hearts. You can even put not enough with a little heart, right? Sending yourself love, because just acknowledging it is reaching out. Acknowledging it is getting honest with yourself. It's already putting you on the path of congruence and freedom. And this is a really, really important piece. And so when we actually take a moment to say, gosh, I want to break that pattern. I want to stop going for the overconsumption because I know that it just makes me hungrier, right? It just makes me more starving, and it makes me try to fill more, feel more stuffed, and feel emptier. And I don't want that anymore. So again, remember, disclaimer for those of you who are hopping in just a little bit late, these 5 insider strategies are not in lieu of doing the deeper work. If you know that you need to do the deeper work, if you know that you are here to get free from the things that are blocking you, to get free from that feeling, I am not enough, or I'm too much, or I'm not the right kind, if you know that you are, then connect with me, reach out. We'll leave a link in the comments, head to freefromfood.today. That allows you to get a complimentary session with me. This is important stuff. That is it's so important for you to get on the path of the true lasting freedom, because you can get free from this stuff. You can get free from this stuff, and then these 5 strategies can help you to stay free. And so keep this video near and dear to you. Hey, Kasha and Caitlin. Yay. Oh, so honored, sister. Thank you. I'm so glad that this is serving you. So I want to know from you, what fills your soul? What fills your soul? I can tell you some things that fill my soul, some things that I do. Like, I love being creative. I love it. People know me as a jewelry designer, and, yes, like, the Goddess Mama is like my favorite, piece that, my top seller, and, my rings and all my stuff. And, which Lynn Denise, I'm sending you your necklace, and it's amazing and it's gorgeous. So I'm so glad that you tuned in here. And I did not set out to become a jewelry designer. I started being creative. I recovered my creative self. That was a whole journey, which I'm happy to share more with you about in a different video, because that was a whole journey of being able to do that, coming back to a place of that authentic joy and starting to create for creation's sake and just having fun with that. And after time, it actually turned into people wanting to buy my stuff. And I thought they were just trying to be polite for the first couple of years. And then it just, like, people who didn't even know me wanted to buy my stuff. I was like, whoa, this is weird. And then it kind of turned into this thing. But it really came from just doing, like, what fills my soul, what fills me up. So dancing, singing, being in nature. I want to know what fills your soul. What is deeply nourishing to you? What is deeply nourishing? Body work, massage, connecting with people authentically, gatherings with people, friendship, going to tea with a friend. I mean, these things are so filling and nourishing that, why not? This is the stuff that's so, so important. So I want to know all this from you. Yay, big heart to you too. Yay, thank you so much. We've got that link in the comments if you do want to connect. Then definitely please do that. And goodness. So I would love to hear what questions you have. I will tune back into to this thread to just find out, which of these 5 strategies are you most excited to go out and implement right away. And, for those of you who know that you're on a deeper path, it's really beautiful. With the Freedom Embodied Academy, we're in the enrollment phase right now. It's starting up in July. There's still ladies who are in it, right, from their year long. Caitlin is one of the amazing ladies who's in it. And it's just going incredibly. I mean, I'm just blown away with the results and the freedom and the lightness and the joy and all of the beauty that is that's already happened just in these last 6 months. And I'm so excited to support some women going through this. And men, I absolutely, just so you know, I absolutely work with men. I do work with men one-on-one. So for those men who are tuning in right now, this conversation absolutely includes you. And I would love to speak with you too. Just hop on my calendar and let's chat about it. So again, thank you so much for taking this time out, taking it for you, and spending this time with me. It's such an honor to be here with you. And I will connect more with you very soon. Bye for now. Mwah.